Everyone, welcome to this English commentary of the 73rd of the title match, Game 5 between Takumi Ito and Sota Fuji. This was a final and deciding game. The score was 2-2 and the winner of this match will take the Oza title. Ito Takumi and Fuji Sota are the professional players in Japan. And the game was played at Tokiwa Hotel in Kofu with 5 hours per player and lasted about 11 hours. The opening was Aigakari or double wing attack, a very fast and sharp type of shogi. Let's go through the game together. Pawn to 2f. Ito opened with his rook pawn. Pawn to 8d. Fuji mirrors on the other side. Pawn to 2e. Ito pushes again, showing attacking idea. Then Fuji answers quickly. Now both sides open their rook files. The battle will be very open. Go to 7h. Ito strengthening his left side. Go to 3b. Fuji does the same. Silver to 3h, and silver to 7b. Both players develop their silvers. Then pawn to 9f, pawn to 1d, pawn to 1f, pawn to 9d. They push their edge pawns, a normal part of this opening. We call it Shogi greeting in Japan. Both kings start moving. After that, king to 6h, king to 5b, so it's very even positioning. Then pawn to 7f, Ito opens the bishop's diagonal. Pawn to hf, Fuji attacks first at that point. Pawn to hf, rook takes it, they trade the pawns and Fuji's rook moves forward. Ito attacks the back on the other side. Now both rook files are open. Fuji blocks the file, pawn drop to c. Ito steps back and keep the position calm. At this point, both sides have open lines for attack. Ito is slightly faster in development, while Fuji is waiting for counter-attack. I would say the game is still balanced. Then pawn to 3d. Fuji quickly pushes a pawn to the center. He wants to develop his pieces naturally and prepare for future attacks. Both sides are still feeling each other out. It's calm before the storm. Ito pawn drop on hf to block Fuji's rook. This stops White's direct attack and closes the 8th file. Fuji steps his rook back to resist the position. He knows there is no immediate breakthrough, so he keeps his options open. Pawn to 3f. Ito now begins to expand on the right side. He wants to control the center and prepare silver advance. Pawn to 7d. Fuji pushes his rook size pawn. Then pawn to 3e. Ito keeps pushing forward on the third file. He is slowly gaining space and putting pressure on Fuji's camp. Fuji answers on the other side. Both players are expanding and waiting for a target. Now the position is tense. One's wrong move could start a huge fight. Pawn 7e and then pawn 3e. Both players take pawn. The board begins to open up. Both players are now ready for mid-game battle. Rook to hf. E2 rooks come back to the defense and attack at the same time. It's flexible. He can use it to counterattack on either side. Fuji immediately tries to keep pressure on the a5. This pawn drop is small but very clever. It stops Ito from easily advancing. Then it rook to 2f again. Ito moves his rook back to its base file. Now the rook is perfectly placed to attack or defense as needed. The position is balanced, but Ito pieces look a bit more active, I would say. At this point, Ito has his rook centralized and silver ready to move to 4f. Fuji's position is solid but a bit cramped. Both sides are waiting for chance, a typical Aigakari mid-game. Knight to 3c, silver to 3g. The other side's knight jumps to 7c. Now both knights jump forward, a signal that battle is near. Ito moves his silver up ready for action. Silver to 4f. This is an important point move. Those silvers goes forward to control the center and support an attack. Pawn to 9e. Fuji pushes on the far edge. Sometimes this is used to distract the opponent or prepare for a later pawn sacrifice. Ito takes the pawn, but Fuji jumps in with his knight. This is start of the real battle. The knight on 6e is very deep. It threatens the gold and opens attacking lines. Go to h5h. Ito defends calmly. The gold protects everything. Fuji's knight looks strong, but it has not followed up yet. But it has no follow up yet. Pawn drop on 9f. Fuji continues to attack on the edge. He is trying to pull Ito's pieces apart. Lance takes pawn. Ito Lance captured it. Pawn hf. Ito takes it, and Fuji rook takes it. Then Ito drops pawn to defend the Fuji's rook. This is another big exchange. Rook to 7f. Fuji moves his rook sideways, keeping pressures on the 7th file. Ito drops his knight to 7g to defend the king's side and prepare for counterattack. But suddenly, Fuji sacrificed a knight, promoted to 5h. It's a very bold move. He gives up material to break open the defense. Gold takes promoted knight. Ito accepts calmly. His position looks a bit open, but is still under control. I would say this was Fuji's big chance. If Ito made one small mistake, Fuji could have attacked directly toward the king. But Ito defended perfectly. He read everything. Fuji dropped pawn to 9f. Ito drops pawn 5d to start counterattacking in the center. Fuji takes it. Ito drops pawn in front of Fuji's king. Fuji hides his king deeper, while Ito's gold moved up. A clear sign of attack. He has to exchange his rook to something like a gold or pawn. But Fuji still fights back on the edge, especially. He makes a promoted pawn to create. Ito takes Fuji's rook, and then Fuji takes Ito's bishop. It's kinda strange. Ito brings a knight into Fuji's camp. Instead of taking Fuji's promoted pawn. Ito's gold covers everything, and then the balance of power shift. Ito is now on the attack. Fuji's defense is desperately silver to 7 shield. Then Ito dropped his rook on the Fuji's camp. Fuji drops a pawn in front of Ito's rook. He wants to slow down Ito's attack and gain a little space on the left side on the board. This is a defensive, waiting move, but also set up counterplay if Ito is careless. Ito pushes a pawn forward to 7d. This pawn attack supports his rook on the 6 file and starts to restrict Fuji's pieces. Fuji develops his silver, aiming to defend the ace file. The silver also covers important squares near his king, making Ito's attack harder to break through. Rook captures and promoted on 8a. Ito sacrifices his rook to promote it as a dragon. It's a key turning point. Ito's pieces are extremely active, while Fuji's are tied to defense. Fuji moves his gold to 4b to protect his king's camp. He needs to stop Ito's dragon and prevent penetration into the center. Ito drops his silver into Fuji's camp 5c. This is aggressive. The silver threatens the pawns and golds around Fuji's king. Fuji takes the silver with his gold. Ito pushes and promoted the pawn. Then Fuji takes the promoted pawn with his gold. But Ito's attack is not just about one piece. It's a coordination of rook, pawns, silver, and gold. Ito drops a pawn again, 5c to attack the gold on 5b. Even after the capture, he continues to pressure Fuji's camp relentlessly. Fuji counters by dropping a knight in Ito's territory, 5f. It's an attempt to create threats and distractions. But Ito's pieces are well positioned and Fuji's knight is limited in mobility. Ito moves his king slightly to the side, 6i, to improve safety. He knows Fuji's attacking pieces aren't strong enough yet. Then Fuji drops a lance 6-8 near Ito's king. This is a defensive measure to block Ito's advancing pieces. Then Silva captures Lance. He takes Ito's gold. Then Ito finally moves his king to capture the token promoted pawn. But now the king is more exposed. Ito's other pieces, dragon pawns, and anything are ready to attack. Fuji moves his gold forward to defend center, 5c. At this moment, he still hopes to hold the position together and maybe find a chance to counterattack. Ito moves silver to 5g, again toward the center. This move shows that he's not only defending, he's preparing to strike. Drop bishop to 5i. Fuji tries one last creative idea. He drops a bishop deep into Ito's camp, aiming at the 7g knight and hoping to create confusion. Fuji is very famous for like a tricky sharp attempt. Rook breaks through and becomes a dragon in Fuji camp. This is a huge moment as the rook controls the second rank and attacks from behind. Fuji's king is suddenly in serious danger. Fuji jumps his knight 4e forward, aiming to create counterplay. It also covers key squares near his king. He's trying to build some threat, but it's already very tough. Ito moves his dragon to h8. This is a powerful position move. Knights promoted on 5g. Fuji sacrifices knight to open lines near the king. This is desperate but creative. Ito captures the knight immediately. His defense remains solid. All of Fuji's attacks have been neutralized. Fuji drops the gold to protect his king from the left side. On 7b. He's trying to build a small castle again, but Ito's attack is already closing. Ito calmly pushes a pawn and promotes it into token. Now Fuji's king cannot move easily. All escape routes are blocked. Ito's attack is precise and patient, just like a surgeon. Fuji throws in silver for a final attempt to create checking chances. On 6i. But Ito's king has plenty of room to move. Ito quickly moves his king away 8h from danger. There's no direct check left. Fuji pushes lance forward. One last attempt to open line. Ito drops a pawn on 3c. This is a cooling move. It stops counterplay and prepares to attack the gold on 3b later. He is playing with great accuracy even in the final moments. Fuji final move. Fuji pushes knight 3g and promoted. But it doesn't change the result. His pieces are too far from the king to matter. A gold directly on 6b in front of Fuji's king. There is no way to defend against it. Every escape square is covered by dragon as a promoted pawn. Game is over. Ito Takumi wins game 5 and becomes the new Oza title holder. The final move count is 97 moves. I would say it's a fantastic endgame performance. Even though Fuji Sota is famous for his fighting spirit, Ito Takumi's composure and accuracy in this final game were truly world class. With this victory, Ito becomes a two-crown champion, AO and Ozo, and one of the youngest ever to hold manipulate major titles in professional shogi. This match will be remembered as a turning point in shogi history. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this English commentary, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more professional shogi games explained in English. Thank you very much.